It's best to know that. It's better to learn that sooner than later. And we have a gigantic season ahead of us, and we're 1-1, and there's some adversity. Welcome to the NFL.
That's it, Mike.
All right, he's got it.
Mike, have you talked to Tua, and what have you observed from his condition?
Yeah, I talked to him in the locker room. Obviously, I talked to him on the field, and then talked to him in the locker room before he was headed home. You know, he was in good spirits.
What was your immediate thought when you saw him go down and into the fencing position?
My thought was concern, and I was just worried about my guy. So, not something that you ever want to be a part of. You know, you hope not to.
Mike, obviously it's very early in the process with Tua. Do you foresee a trip to the injured reserve list, or do you have any insight on that?
You know, as right now, you know, I'm not really. It's more about you know, getting a proper procedural evaluation tomorrow and taking it one day at a time. The furthest thing from my mind is you know, what is the timeline? You know, I want to know. We just need to evaluate, and you know, I'm just worried about my you know, my teammate, and like the rest of the guys are. But we'll get more information tomorrow, and then take it day by day from there.
Mike, regardless of how he progresses through protocol from here, how will what happened in 2022 impact how you and the team handle Tua this time around?
I think it's important to approach each and every situation to the, you know, much like approach every injury with it, which is basically, all right, we're going to handle this particular situation with this particular player. You know, every situation is unique to its own. So, you know, I think there's, you know, for me, I'm not worried about anything that's out of my hands in terms of, I'm just worried about the human being, and you know, he'll drive the ship when we get the appropriate information. But it's day by day health is what, you know, I've you know, really try to approach all the stuff that way, particularly with concussions.
Like, do you think it's safe for Tua to play football, considering he's had 4 concussions in, I think, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I think that's from a medical standpoint. That's I don't approach things that I'm far inferior of expertise. I'm just there to support my teammate, like I said, and you know, I think you know, there's for me to go ahead and forecast things that I don't know in my non-field of expertise, I don't think that's appropriate. I think we'll find out some more information tomorrow in terms of where Tua's at. He'll you know, be able to spend a good amount of time being evaluated, and then we'll have conversations and progress as appropriate. But you know, I'm like the rest of his teammates who he went around the locker room and connected with. You know, trying to keep, as a leader, he was trying to keep the guys' heads up, and he'll be in the office tomorrow to have the appropriate care.
Mike, even before that injury, it wasn't the kind of night you probably expected. How do you explain what laid out there tonight?
Ooh, it's a tough one. That I think there was a lot of high expectations and ambitions for the game, fully knowing that it was going to be a tough one. But I think every person on the team would tell you when playing a good football team, if you're minus 3 or 4, whatever it was, and then with the fourth downs on top of that, no one foresaw that. So I don't think you can win. You might be able to win 1 out of 100 with those the nuts and bolts of that, and I think that's the main thing that the football team is feeling is supreme disappointment, because it's they've put a lot into it. They have high expectations, and you can't even evaluate appropriately when you're playing football that way and giving it to the opponent, and so giving them extra possessions, especially a quarterback like that. So, I think it's football's a tough business. There's like I told the team, like this hurts for a reason, and then you have to find out if you need I think we have enough veteran players in that locker room that understand that the belief will come from within, because you quite frankly you can already turn the page and know what's going to be said about us, and that's probably going to last for a while. We'll have plenty of opportunities to really take the just sheer frustration and anger out on the way we approach our jobs day in, day out. It's also, very much week 2, and that was our first division game, and it feels way bigger than that, because there's a lot of history to this this matchup, and there's a lot of things that we thought we were going to take care of that are definitely not taken care of. So, I think it's a gut check for the team early in the season. I look at things like if we would have won by 30, what does that mean? I think that puts the game in perspective. It's one loss that's that really cuts deep, but that can either be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you respond to it. So I really believe in the locker room. I believe in the coaching staff, and I better believe it, because it's going to be a while before it's going to be anybody but us believing that, and that's okay. I think you have to these types of moments where your expectations and what you put in to things far exceed the result. You can't hide in situations like that, and so I'm expecting I'm expecting to move forward as a team and have this be a galvanizing moment in our season as we look back on it down the road. And how do you do that? You handle tough situations. You come together as a group, and you make sure that you clean up the things in your game that led to this. And we really didn't the team wasn't given a fair shot necessarily tonight because we had some absolutely catastrophic misgivings with the football, and that's what's going to happen. And I suppose it's best to know that. It's better to learn that sooner than later. And we have a gigantic season ahead of us, and we're 1-1, and there's some adversity. Welcome to the NFL.
That said, Mike, the adversity in the season ahead and all those things, with the uncertainty on what's next for Tua, how much confidence do you have that you could be able to bounce back from this with Skylar for whatever foreseeable time that is?
Yeah, I think as a rookie, I know you guys, or I know everyone doesn't get to see Skylar play. I don't know what our timeline is. I'm not concerned with that. We played with Skylar as a rookie, and with the season on the line, and found a way to win an elimination game and go toe-to-toe with this very same organization in a playoff game. I think that, and he's a much better player than he was then. Those are things that the team feels. I think guys really believe in Skylar. So I have no, I have the utmost confidence in him. That's why he's our backup quarterback. And you're always very aware that injuries happen in the National Football League. So, you can't do anything in the National Football League getting ahead of yourself. You can look at one opponent, and you can look at that the next day and try to get better at something, and then build on that and get better at something else the next day. And that's kind of the way that this team will approach it. I think we have a very experienced team with a lot of leaders, and leadership is called upon in moments like this. So I don't see people putting all their this was not the Super Bowl, although it's a very, very hard game to take. I know this is imprinted. This will be imprinted in the minds of all our guys for the rest of the season for sure. And there's storylines evolve, and every single year, in a multitude of ways, and you have to, as a team, just like you can't, a season ago, or the season previous, that it was new to the team to get excessive praise. That's something that you have to defend yourself against. And then, on the same token, when you're 1-1 and there's going to be a million people that say we can't, and so you have to decide if you want everyone to be right or wrong. And I think that's what's at stake is is your team motivated by outside sources, or is your team worried about the right stuff and getting better and continuing to evolve as a team together? So adverse times really, really suck on the front end, but are very, very validating when you push through them, especially on a team collectively. So that's what we'll be chasing here in the near future.
You've grown particularly close to Tua. I was curious how you just focus your mind completely on football right after seeing a scene like that. I think you gave him a kiss on the side of the head when he walked off the field. How do you coach the rest of that game, thinking about his well-being?
Yeah, I always have those extremely human moments, just with all the things that come in football. In particular, injuries are difficult for me, but at the same time, you know, there's so many people depending on my focus that if I don't really see that, like, there's a lot of other people that are also depending on me, just like Tua is. So you have to look at it like that. That's where my mind goes. It's not the easiest thing in the world for sure, but you know, nor is having this job. So you got to step up.
We saw Tehran in and out, and is he okay?
I'll get more information. You know, I don't really. He was battling, and you know, I don't really have much beyond what tomorrow's assessment will be. This is always super fast right after the game, to be able to sort through that. So we'll have more information tomorrow for sure. But it to be determined, I guess.
How would you assess how Vaughn played tonight, especially with the injury?
No, I thought Devon. I thought he really showed some really cool professional growth in a short week. He was in the training room nonstop, trying to take advantage of this opportunity, and you know, he knew we'd already taken a shot at that in that position. So what he was able to do tonight is I thought he performed very well, and the only reason he was able to have the opportunity was because he really went all in, and in the process showed his teammates how much he can be counted on, because he was, you know, literally living in the training room to get out there, and I thought it was a cool individual piece of growth, and otherwise pretty miserable experience.
First interception, why were neither Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle on the field for that third down?
So there was on that interception that they were coming off. We were trying to put Jalen back in the game, but we were kind of down on the clock, and quite honestly, the way the defender was playing, it was the ball was a little behind Grant, and I'm not sure what difference that would have made. But you're early in the game. You're trying to rotate guys and make sure that they're fresh. We do that often, and it was unfortunate that was the result.
Like, when you see Tua check in on other guys in the locker room after the night that he's had with a smile on his face, what goes through your mind?
You know, those how much he loves his teammates, and how much he loves being out there with his teammates, really. And you know, just another example of his great character and leadership. You know, I think that when something happens to an individual and you see their response is less, I mean, he's concerned about his teammates. That tells you everything about the type of person he is, and he knows what he means to this team, and shows a lot of awareness in that regard, because he knows there's a lot of guys that are worried about him. So yeah, I think it goes through my mind is he's a great human being and a great teammate. All right.